Hey everybody. So, today I'm actually working on the MR2. So far I have the engine harness on the engine. Only had a few questions that Doug answered really quick. So I guess let me show you. Alright, so there is the complete, ready to go, in the car engine. I went ahead and buttoned up the whole front end, put the new valve cover gasket on and all that. Put all the bolts in for the coil pack, for the coil on plug. I'm gonna wait and do the exhaust because I still don't know if I'm gonna use the stainless, Amazon, eBay, whatever you want to call it, or if I'm gonna go and get a regular steel one, stock steel one. There's all of the plugs that go inside the car, and these are for the tack adapter, which I have, and I will probably wire that up. And as per my request, Doug is awesome, and he put me an ODB2 connector on this, so I can actually put my Bluetooth dongle and actually be able to monitor the engine vitals, what it'll give me on my Android device. So there's everything else. This one will go to the battery, positive. That is the O2. That's the ground for the goes to the transmission right there. And let's see here. This is for the MAF sensor. It'll go over here somewhere, wherever I decide to put it. And there's the two gray plugs for the 8586. It's been a minute since I've worked on these, so I had to ask about the reverse sensor, but that's actually on the car. It's been way too long since I've worked on one of these. So put the starter back on. It's ready to go. Pretty much I'll have to figure out the fuel, and the problem with this fuel rail is my 90-degree adapter that goes to AN hits right here, so I can't use my standard 90-degree adapter. I think for whenever I do my fuel line, because I really don't like the clamp style for the high pressure line, but I'll probably run with that for a little bit. But I can get a banjo to AN, and I'll probably do that, and then cut 90 for my fuel line and go down to the fuel filter. So pretty much everything went back together as expected. I didn't have but one leftover bolt. I honestly don't know where it went because I put everything back. I did not see any other spare holes that could have possibly been it. So I don't know. We'll see. Alright, so a couple hours later, and this is in. The passenger side and the driver's side mounts are done. Well, they're bolted in. I gotta tighten the passenger side one a little bit more. The rear mount is tightened, but the front mount, I don't know if you can see it down there, I've still got to do the plate, so it's not there. Now I'm going to go and try to run all the wires into the trunk right there and try to figure out how this exhaust is supposed to run. So here we go. Alright, so a few things are immediately apparent to me. Doug said that he had relocated his battery, and I see that that is probably going to be a must because the intake is right there, and unless I can find a way to turn that 90 or something, 45, something to get behind this, I don't know how I can take that metal piece off right there, but unless I can find a way to get down below that, I'm going to have to remove the battery and put it in the front. I was kind of hoping not to have to do that, but if I have to, I have to. So the other thing is the exhaust. I just put this on there to test fit, but now I see it's going to have to change. there's definitely going to have to be some modification. So I will probably run the stock manifold and modify it because it will be easier. So besides that, I've got to figure out how to run this. This is the one that runs into the trunk for the ECU and the body plug that's around about here or so. So I'm gonna shoot an email off to Doug and see how he did his, because I don't trust the wires being that close to the exhaust, and I can't really move it over any to extend it. There's just not that much play over here, so I don't know what's going on there. But you know, of course, Doug had it running in his car, and so I don't know if he had cut a different hole over here and filled in that one, which I may end up having to do just to keep it away from the exhaust. I was trying to keep the body as close to stock as possible, but oh well. The other thing is my O2 sensor. I'm gonna have to change the plug, either this plug or the O2 sensor plug, because this one is a different style, or it's still the 4-pin, but the keys are different. So I gotta do that. But for now, I'm gonna finish hooking up all this stuff and see what else I can find. Alright, so there we have it. I've got the engine in the car. I have most of the wiring done. I did hear back from Doug, and he did cut another hole about where the 87 trunk wiring goes through. So I think instead of cutting, I'm going to try to actually get the wiring to go through the other grommet where the body harness goes through on the driver's side. Well, left-hand side here in America. So I'm going to try that. So I got a good bit done today. I got the engine back together, the front cover, the timing cover, valve cover, replaced all the gaskets, and I got most of the wiring hooked up except for that issue with the trunk wiring. I did get the heat shield installed for the trunk since the exhaust is on the back. I don't want to have to deal with fried wires, because that's never good. So this is actually the second time or third time I've had to record this ending, because the first one, I didn't record at all. I was not on the right setting. And the second one, the audio was horrible. I mean, I could hardly hear it. So hopefully you can hear it. I got my little mic on now. Let's see how that thing does. But so what I've got to do now is I've got to get the axles in so that I can actually tow the car. I've got to tow it, and I got to have the front torque mount plate welded in. So I got to do that. I have the metal for that, so it's not a huge deal. I just got to get it there to get it done. I've got to do all the lines, the fuel lines, stuff like that. Doug, I mean, he gave me all the lines that he used. So I have all the coolant lines, I have the fuel line, but it's that clamped. I don't like doing that kind of stuff. I'll probably end up getting the banjo to AN adapter so that I can actually run one of my stainless braided lines. I sell those, so I kind of want it on my car too. But I'll do that, and the coolant lines, of course, I got to do that. I've got to figure out something on the intake because it is. I don't see how it's going to work with the battery in the stock location. So I'm going to have to probably, as much as I hate to, relocate the battery. Um, my brother's had that done on his Black 86, and it was like that when we got it actually. And he's had nothing but problems out of that thing. So I really don't want to deal with that on my car. So, if you have any tips on that, let me know in the comment section below. But beyond that, outside of the engine bay, I've still got to tighten up all the suspension. I've actually got to get some of the bolts that go through the struts to the through the knuckles. I've got to get. I have the bolts, but I got to get the nuts because somewhere I've lost some of them. So I've got to do that. I've got to decide on if I want to run my uncoated stainless braided lines, brake lines that I have on there now, or if I want to run I got some blue ones down there somewhere. I mean, I could always make up some more, but somebody wants to buy these blue ones from me so I can get the stuff to make some red ones or something to match my car. Let me know. They'll fit any 85 through 89. So, anyway, so I got to do that. At some point, I've got to try to fix the driver's side C-pillar trim. It's busted. It's fallen off. Only like that much of it's left towards the top. So, not much at all left. I have a whole nother set here in the shop that I can put on there, but I kind of want to make a fiberglass mold or something out of it before I put them on the car. I know there's been a lot of people that have said they've wanted to do that and have ended up not doing it, or it be prohibitively expensive. But I kind of want it just for myself, If anybody else wanted some, great. Whatever. So, beyond all that, I've got to, of course, figure out the exhaust. I've got to cut that bottom piece and actually turn it down some so that I can actually get the exhaust out of there. But I think right now the biggest expense that I have left is tires. I have the stock triangles, the 14 inches that came with the car originally, and the tires that are on there are, they're bald. They're beyond bald. They're almost to showing wire. So those actually came off of my brother's car, and they have the Falcon Azenis. I want to say it's like the 215 or something like that. It's the really, really old autocross tire. But he street drove it, and 200 tread wear, it kind of wore out fast. Well, it's drag slicks now, but so I got to get some tires, but the price on those, I also have a set of Spider rims that I would actually rather use because they're lighter, and that's what I had on the car whenever I sold it, however many years ago. And my brother actually ended up with my set of Spider rims with my JDM center caps. So now I have just a regular set of Spider rims with a regular set of center caps, but I'd actually rather have the tires on that because there's not that much price difference. But I just got to come up with that money for that. So anyway, I made some progress today. I know that a lot of you are probably wondering why it's taking me so long to get all this done. Family stuff, but anyway, if you have any questions or comments, just let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. And if you want to see more stuff like this, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that little bell that'll show up after you hit subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time that I upload a new video. And you won't be like everybody on YouTube, on Facebook earlier that was like, "What engine is that?" Well, if you had subscribed and hit the bell, you would have already known. But yeah, so the Prius engine is actually in the MR2. So we have to finish up everything and hopefully, I was shooting for having it running by spring, but I mean, summer's here now and it's still not running. Hell, I just got it in the car, so we'll we'll just I'll do what I can. So if anybody wants to donate some time or some money, uh, whatever, hit me up in the comment section below. I'll shoot you my info if you want. But I'm just ready to get this thing done. To be completely honest with you, I am so ready to get it running. I can't wait to get to the road hugging, riding like on rails MR2, and I really want to see what this engine can do. So, anyway, until next time.